if you look at this next problem, it's also division. So when you divide, you subtract exponents. So I'm going to put my imaginary 1 here, and I'm going to start with the x's. So we're going to do negative 2 minus 4, which is negative 6. So that becomes x to the negative 6. Then I write y. We're doing 1 minus negative 1. 1 minus negative 1 changes to plus 1, which is 2. So we get y squared. Now, you're not done with this problem because when you have exponents, you don't want to have a negative exponent. So usually what you do is you write your answer as a fraction. Anything that has a negative exponent moves to the bottom, or it switches the side that it's on. So if we're on the bottom, it would move to the top. And then there it becomes positive. The y was already positive, so it stays on top. So just to emphasize, a negative exponent doesn't mean that your answer is going to be negative. It just means that they're actually doing x divided by x, etc., instead of x times x to the 6th power. So you're switching the side that it's on to make it positive. This next problem here has a negative exponent. So right away, since everything is to the negative 1, you could flip it or take the reciprocal and it would become to the positive 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as a to the negative 3 b squared over a squared b, and then it becomes to the positive 1. Anything to the positive 1 just stays the same, so you could really write this without the exponent. So if you're looking at the inside, it's a division problem. When we divide, we subtract exponents. So negative 3 minus 2 is the negative 5, and then 2 minus 1 would be b to the 1st power. Again, you don't want negative exponents, so at the end we're going to write our answer as a fraction, and the part with a negative exponent moves to the bottom to become positive. The b stays on top because it was already to the positive 1. So that would be your final answer. This next one, we have a power of a power, so we're going to have to distribute that 2. So I'm going to give everything on the inside that little 2. Here I'm going to put an imaginary 1. So on the numerator, when we do that, this one already has a 2. So when you give it the 2, you multiply. This one's y to the 1st power. When you give it the 2, you multiply. Now, we also need to give this little 2 out to everything on the bottom. So it becomes x to the 1st times 2. Y is to the 3rd power, so I'm going to give it the little 2 as well. So from there, we're just multiplying to simplify. So I have x to the 4th, 1 times 2 is 2. Here 1 times 2 is 2, and then 3 times 2 is 6. Now it's a division problem. So when you divide, you subtract exponents. So x, 4 minus 2 is 2. For y, 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Remember, you don't want negative exponents. So again, I'm going to write my answer as a fraction. The x squared was already positive, so it stays on top. The y was negative, so it's going to move to the bottom where it becomes positive. And that's the final answer there.